What's going on, baseball fans? How are we doing? So the Mets have hired their new manager. Let's go talk about it. Okay, so here we go. The Mets have hired Buck Showalter as their next manager. After weeks of speculation, the Mets have hired their new manager. Buck Showalter will take over the reins of the team, according to a tweet from team owner Steve Cohen. Let's check out that tweet, Mr. Steve Cohen. Let's see what you had to say. I'm pleased to announce Buck Showalter as the new manager of the New York Mets. Also, John Heyman reported this as well, saying that it's going to be a 3-year contract to manage the team. Overall, I think this is a great move. I think for the Mets, you were down to 3 guys for the managerial vacancy. You had Buck Showalter, you had Matt Cotrero, you had Espada from the Astros. In the end, I feel like a lot of people thought Buck Showalter was just the right fit. To me, the Mets, it seemed like they had a problem last year with their players just buying into what the manager, Luis Rojas, had to say. It just felt like the Mets fell apart in the second half. They were having injuries. I don't know. It just seemed like they weren't plugging in the right guys in the right spots. It just felt like the Mets, they just ran out of mojo in the second half. However, with this offseason, they've had a tremendous offseason so far. Hey, adding a guy like Max Scherzer, I don't know if you've heard of him before, but he's pretty good. He's going to be atop the rotation there with Jacob deGrom. You also added Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar. What I really like about the Eduardo Escobar and Mark Canha moves is it gives the Mets more versatility. It really helps them out in that department. They really lacked in that department last year when they had a lot of injuries, and it felt like they just had trouble filling in those holes. So those 2 guys are really going to help. Escobar, he can go play in the infield and the outfield. Canha can play all 3 outfield spots. He can play some first base as well. Marte, that's a great top of the order bat that they desperately needed. The Mets did not do well at the top of the order last year. Starling Marte is really going to help there. If Brandon Nimmo can stay healthy for a full season, that's going to be a great top of the order for them. The only question I have really here is Robinson Cano. What do you do here with Robinson Cano? That is, to me, a big question mark. Are the Mets, are they going to find a replacement? What are they going to do? I mean, don't forget, you still got Jeff McNeil here. He was really good, back in 2020, back in 2019. Could Jeff McNeil be your second baseman? As of right now, you still got Cano on this contract, so he didn't play last year because he was suspended. But you have him for the next 2 seasons. I mean, I don't know what you do with him. Unless you can somehow move that contract, it seems like that's going to be your guy. I would imagine maybe, you would want to move away from that. I don't know. Let me know, Mets fans. What would you want to do with Robinson Cano? To me, I feel like Jeff McNeil would be a nice piece there. I don't know. That's just me, though. And don't forget, you have J.D. Davis as well. I still feel like the Mets have work to do this offseason. Unfortunately, the lockout, it's stopping things from that. But with Buck Showalter, getting back to him, that's what this video is about, right? So Buck Showalter, this is a guy where I was talking about Luis Rojas. It felt like guys had a hard time buying into what he had to say last year. It felt like they weren't really plugging in the holes at the right times. It just felt like it just didn't feel like it was a well-run team last year. They had the potential, they had the talent, but for some reason they just couldn't put it together, even after being in first place halfway through the season. Buck Showalter, I feel like this is a veteran guy where he's going to bring stability to this team. Back with the Orioles from 2010 to 2018, I mean, of course, you had some down seasons here, but he had some very good seasons as well. To me, I feel like he is the perfect guy for this spot. I feel like Matt Cotrero was a bit of a dark horse. He was a New York guy. He's been with the Rays for the past few seasons, a winning ball club the last few seasons. I feel like Cotrero really would have brought in a good vibe to that team, especially, with his knowledge of the analytics like the Rays like to use. I feel like Cotrero would have been a nice fit. I feel like in the end, they needed that voice more. I feel like they needed someone like a Buck Showalter, someone that's been here and he's done it before and he's had success doing it. Matt Cotrero would have been a first-time manager. I feel like it just felt right to go with a guy that has done this before. And someone like Buck Showalter, to me, he's one of the better managers that has ever managed. Over 3,000 games, over 1,500 wins, a .506 win percentage. And also, he's been in New York before, and he's been with media jobs. So, to me, he can handle New York. I don't think there's any question about that. I feel like he's the right guy for this position. I feel like a lot of people feel that way. Overall, I like the move a lot. I really do. I like Buck Showalter. I think he's great. I felt like it was a matter of time before even coming into this offseason, even last offseason, it felt like, hey, Buck Showalter, this is going to be a guy, he's probably going to go back to managing at some point, especially with someone like Tony La Russa, coming back to manage. Dusty Baker still managing. So these guys, even though they're older in age, they can still really run these teams. And Buck Showalter, he's still up with the times. If Tony La Russa could be with the times, Buck Showalter definitely can be as well. Again, the Mets, I still feel like they need some move. They need to make some more moves here. What do you do with Robinson and Cano? But most of all, I'm wondering what you got to get some more starting pitching depth, I think. On paper, yeah, sure. DeGrom, Scherzer looks really nice at the top here, but Taijuan Walker, bad second half last year. Carrasco just had something done with his elbow recently. Not a great season last year at all. What are you going to get out of there? I feel like the depth with the starting pitching with the Mets, they still need to address that. I still don't think this team is quite there. The bullpen, I think, looks pretty good. Losing Aaron Loop, I think, was tough, but I think they'll be able to overcome that. The Mets are not done by any means. Just because you've added Buck Showalter, it's a great move, but you're not done if you're the New York Mets. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. What do you think of this move? What else do you think the Mets need to do for the rest of this offseason? Let me know. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.